Okay, so lately I've just been sitting back in the cut and just watching everybody's reaction to the Good Times reboot. And I didn't really chime in at first. I just wanted to see what the overall temperature was before I jumped in. And I took a look at the trailer myself. I know that the series dropped on Netflix already, and some people gave their 2 cents on it. And my overall impression of it pretty much fits in with others think of the reboot. I feel that the reboot is garbage. Now, whether I watch the actual episodes or not remains to be seen. But I just like to say for those of you out there asking, oh well, why did they decide to make a TV show into an animated series? Well, some of the idea of turning a sitcom into a cartoon is as old as television itself. It has been done several times over the course of history. I couldn't name the TV shows that have been turned into cartoons, but if I do this commentary, will be a little too long than what I've intended. So anyway, here are my thoughts on the Good Times reboot. From the trailer that I watched, uh, I wasn't impressed with it. Like I said, I think it's garbage. Why as to why they got Seth McFarlane and didn't try to have Carl Jones as the main point person on this is beyond me. I felt that Carl Jones, if they had to do a Good Times cartoon, I felt that Carl Jones would have been the best bet for it, not Seth MacFarlane. That would be like getting somebody that does Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon on a King of the Hill reboot. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, this trailer tries its best to distance itself from Good Times of old, but it's too late for that, really, because you took the name Good Times. That'd be like doing a cartoon and calling it Family Ties and say, well, this has nothing to do with the Keaton family. Too late. It does. And I just felt that the jokes are way too stereotypical and tripe and full of all kinds of tropes. Really, you have the mother with blonde hair, looking kind of like over the hill hoochie mama. You have the son, kind of reminiscent of JJ, but he's the JJ of the modern age. I'm talking about the older one. And you have a baby that sells drugs. Now, only character that seems pretty much legit is the one that's kind of the modern equivalent of Thelma, and she embodies the character traits of Michael from the OG series. And the father, and this is a gripe that I have with Seth MacFarlane. He tends to go with the easy, cheap laughs, adding fat characters because the fat characters are the go-to visual gags for humor and laughs. And he doesn't disappoint here. I mean, you can go and watch the Cleveland Show, Family Guy. He doesn't do that so much with American Dad, but still. I mean, you could if you was going, I mean, I would, looking at the trailer, the patriarch of the family is James Evans Sr.'s grandson. So why couldn't he look a little bit like John Amos body wise? He didn't have to look like him facial wise, because I understand you probably didn't want to try to get John Amos's permission to use his likeness and all that other stuff. But you could have had him look body wise. But I look at the father. The father to me looks like a more overweight version of Carl Winslow from Family Matters. And this is no shade or disrespect at Reginald Vell Johnson. I'm a fan of his, but still, I don't really get this. And then you add all these jokes about Chicago and how Chicago is violent and the planting of guns in the community and everything, all in this cartoon. I think it didn't really have no place here. I'm like, okay, if this is the Evans of the new generation, why couldn't they live in a modest neighborhood? There are several modest neighborhoods in Chicago with well-to-do black families. Why couldn't you have the Evans family there? There is no Cabrini Greens. It's like you guys deliberately chose not to do any research. But I'm not surprised, seeing as the people behind this are Norman Lear, of course, Steph Curry, and Seth McFarlane. I think Steph Curry's title is just in title only, executive producer. That means he's putting up money for it. If I'm Steph Curry, I would try to get my name off of any future episodes of the reboot, presuming if it does get picked up for a second season. I would want my name to be connected with this, especially how the public reaction to the show is thus far, really. So I don't know. I may watch the show just to give my further thoughts on it, but as it stands, I just felt that they shouldn't have went forward with this show, especially since they didn't really get the blessing and the go-ahead from Eric Monte's family and Michael Evans' family. Yes, there was a real Michael Evans. He played the first Lionel Jefferson on All in the Family and the Jeffersons. But still, I mean, you're gonna. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't add up to me, really. I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, if we was living like 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, you would have the NAACP call a series of press conferences, issuing boycotts and showing up outside the headquarters of Netflix with picket signs, all that stuff. But we're not living in that age anymore, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a shame, really. So, audience, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comment box. This is Iron Will Media.